in an online setting, most of your problems are in a multiple choice format. So I wanted to look at one of these parabolas with you multiple choice wise and show you how to attack it. This is one of the tougher ones. The reason it's tough is it starts with negative x squared, and that's a really hard one to actually plug values in. So what I encourage you to do, if you ever have a negative x squared, you know that's implied to be a negative 1x squared, so just throw that one in there and that'll help you a lot. Now, of course, the proper way to work this one is to find the vertex and find the axis and find extra points, but there are also a couple of other ways that you can attack it. The easiest way, multiple choice wise, that I've found is to use A. A is not the axis. Remember, A is the number in front. So in this particular problem, A is negative 1. Now we have a rule that says if that A is negative, the graph opens downwards. So if I look at my multiple choice possibilities, this one opens up, throw it out. This one opens up, throw it out. The other two both open downwards. And so now I have a 50-50 shot at looking at the correct answer. Now, of course, finding the vertex would probably be my next step, but there are also some other ways that you can analyze this graph, and one of those ways is called intercepts. Now, in a previous section, you learned that the way you find your x-intercepts is you set y to 0. In this particular case, that means you're going to set your function to 0. So my function is negative 1x squared minus 4x plus 5. If I say that f of x is 0, that's going to give me the x-intercepts. Now, the way that this one is going to work is by factoring. And I really don't like to factor a negative x squared. So what I'm going to do is move this one over. When I move a negative x squared over, it becomes positive. When I move this 4 over, it becomes positive. And when I move this 5 over, it becomes negative. And this expression is much easier for me to factor. This is how you would find intercepts. Now, I'll go ahead and factor this one. The factors of 5 that subtract to give me 4 are 5 and 1. The 5 is positive and the 1 is negative. Let's set them both equal to 0. And x would equal a negative 5 when I moved it over, and x would equal 1 when I moved it over. And these are called your x-intercepts. If I look at the two graphs that remain, I can see where they cross the x-axis. Example B crosses the x-axis at negative 5 and 1. Example C crosses the x-axis at negative 1 and 5. So if we're looking for positive 1 and negative 5, that would be this answer, B. So intercepts are another way that you could find the graph of a parabola. Now, going back to the same problem, I also want to just run through the vertex really fast. If I was working it, I would find it by the vertex. I just wanted to give you some other options. To find the vertex, remember you say negative b over 2a. So in this particular problem, b is a negative 4. So you'd say negative of negative 4 over 2 times a. So the first part of the vertex is a negative 2. To find the second part of the vertex, we would plug that in. So we have negative 1 x squared minus 4 times x plus 5. And we're going to plug negative 2 in all the places. So this would be negative 1 times 4 plus 8. Two negatives make a positive 8 plus 5. So that would give me 13 minus 4, which is 9. So my vertex is negative 2, 9. If I look at this vertex here, that's the point 2, 9. Okay, so that one's bad. So if I look at this vertex here, that's the point -2, 9, and so that one's good. So of course B would be your answer. As far as multiple choice goes, you can use any of these ways. Intercepts, vertices, you can use any of these ways to find the graph. Okay, let's look at one more and then we'll call this section done. If I look at this particular one, it's not quite as difficult. F of x equals x squared minus 6x plus 8. What I notice first is that my a value is 1. If a is 1, that means the parabola opens upwards. So I can mark these two out. If you wanted to work it with intercepts, to find intercepts, you're going to set your function equal to 0. Now keep in mind that all the time it doesn't factor. If it doesn't factor, you can use the quadratic formula, or of course you can go back to finding the vertex. But sometimes they factor easily, like this one. The factors of 8 that add to give me 6 are 4 and 2. They're the same sign, both negative. Set them both equal to 0 and solve them out. So x would equal 4 and x would equal 2. If I look at this particular graph, the x-intercepts are -2 and -4, so those are bad. If I look at this particular graph, the x-intercepts are 2 and 4, so that one's good. So my answer for this one is C. Now if you wanted to double check it, you could. The way that you find the vertex is you say -b over 2a. For this particular problem, b is -6. So you would say that's the negative of b over 2 times a, which is 1. So the first number of the vertex is 3. To find the second number, we can plug 3 into the function. The function is x squared minus 6x plus 8. Plug in 3. So my vertex is 3, -1. If I look back at this graph, there's the vertex 3, -1. So C is indeed the correct answer. So again, on these multiple choice, you use what works best for you. If it factors, intercepts are easy. Definitely narrow it down and tell which way it opens first. Finding the vertex is also an easy way to work it.